Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of War Campaign 15, Week 1, Day 6. So today, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be basically finishing up most of the events. We have ourselves still the Stonesong Eyrie, which will definitely be a primary focus. We won't be able to finish this today, but get good progress on it, and then finish that out tomorrow. However, one thing we should be able to finish today is helping out our guild with the Good Old World event. Since I was away earlier this week, I was not able to help as much early on in the week as we normally would have. Yeah, we'll need to do some more now just to help get across to the finish line there for the event. And then we also have the first buffed evasion event as of next week. So basically, there are two new systems that they have, like a head start and some other one midway through the week, where they have like this little offer thing. I'm not sure if the other one is money locked, as it's the way it sounded earlier. I don't think it was, so I'm not sure at this point, given that this one is. But basically, just like a little bit of a bonus that you can have towards the next week's new troop. So basically, some shiny tokens to get it rolling, some shiny keys, and literally a head start on the mode itself, where you will start a little bit further into the mode, as well as just already having some score to begin with. So a little bit of a bonus. Overall, I would say it's probably not worth getting. But as you can see, that's actually for a troop that doesn't currently exist. Slug Hoarder is the very good new troop that's coming out next week, oddly enough. The one that is basically going to be the new gold meta, farming meta. So, yeah, there's that. But even with that being said, I still don't think it's going to be worth getting that for him. Because he's from the earlier cycles of shiny keys. So pretty much everything that's going to be in the shiny keys anywhere in the near future, we're going to have so many of them that's not really going to matter ultimately as far as getting them upgraded. Because it's going to pull from the current batch. So like the first 50, 100 or so shinies going to be really easy to max compared to ones that are going to be like the 500th shiny coming into the game. Because right now they're going to be super, super easy to get up. Whereas later on, obviously once we have hundreds of them, each individual one will get increasingly harder to max, even with the dust system. Anyways, aside from that, yeah, I was going to be continuing on the events and go from there. So, should we start? I guess we'll start right a little bit with the good old Underworld then. Or, not Underworld. I always said Underspire too, but, oh yeah, Underworld. Actually, I was right. Because we're doing the faction event. Yeah, Underspire, we actually got done on the 4th day. I was not able to cover the Underspire video today, soon TM. I do hope to have that up by tomorrow, though. Definitely want to cover that, as it is pretty big mode that came in 7.0, obviously. Still kind of catching up on all the 7.0 stuff, but by the next week we should have covered pretty much everything. Because the only 3 things we really need to cover now is the Underspire, which is obviously the biggest one. The new Mythic, which, we can kind of cover that whenever, once we have some solid team set up. And then, what was the other one? Shiny Keys, which we should be able to cover sometime next week, as far as that whole mechanic works. And we'll be able to start earning some of our first ones through the Invasion event. So one change that they actually did in version 4.0, or 7.0, I mean, 4.0, that was ages ago. But one change that they made in 7.0 is basically events like this. So I believe it is Raids, Invasions, Tower of Doom, and Journey events. Those 4 have gotten an expansion. So normally when you have a weekly event, let's say like a world event, it only goes till 12, 12 reward tiers. But now it's going to go to 16. And some of those rewards that we're going to have from 13 to 16 include shiny keys. A few other things as well, but the most relevant thing is shiny keys. So that'll be some ways that we can go and end up earning them. And this will make some modes take a little bit more than you normally would. For something like Tower of Doom, this is basically just free loot. Because Tower of Doom is already so easy to get to stage 12. You can even get to it like fully completed on Monday pretty easily. If you have it like fully scouted and everyone in your guild does their battles up to, 25. So Tower of Doom has always been a super easy one to do. However, Raids and Evasions, we're going to have to see exactly how that goes. Because Journeys are also kind of easy in the sense that if anyone in your guild still needs to do the achievement, them alone can almost just carry you all the points you need. Just because of how many you have to do just to get the achievement. So if you still have anyone in your guild needing to do that, that's normally enough to push it over. But the two that are going to be more interesting is Raids and Evasions, to see exactly how that scales. I am not sure what tier you need to fully finish it. It could be tier 3, 4, 5, who knows. But given that you do kind of go a little bit deeper into it whenever there's new troops, like for example next time when we're going to be getting the new raid troop, it shouldn't be that bad to end up doing. But oh no, we haven't seen it yet. We don't know exactly how many points we'll need for stage 13 to 16. Who knows, maybe they ramp it up like crazy. We don't really know, but we'll find out next week. But yeah, we'll be able to get some keys that way, shiny keys and other various nice loot. Anyways, with that being said, let's go and do something now. Let's go just mess around with the faction. Just kind of chill and just take everything out. Anyways, hello everyone. Hope all you guys have been having a wonderful weekend so far. Hello, let me start from the top. Hello, Humberto. Hello, Bill. Hello, Nightmare. Hello, Easy Breezy. Hello, Draco. Hello, Eric. Let's see. You completed this week's Underspire with 800 gems and $2 of lanterns. Nice. So were you doing the 50 gem per day method then, basically? And then just threw some extra at the end? Because it sounds like it based on that. Or is that 150 per day, technically? Which is interesting, because that was like the lowest voted option when we were pulling it earlier. But yeah, if you hit 800, that would have been a 150 per day, wouldn't it? Buying each tier 2 times instead of 3. Honestly, I'm actually considering it. Because both times so far, I have finished before the end. The first time I finished by Friday. And this time I'm finishing by Thursday. So who knows, maybe we'll go start doing the 150 method. As we'll save us a couple hundred gems by the end. Anyways, hello Genki, hello Supernova, hello Tyrion. The only problem with that is, if you keep going down wrong paths. Oh no, with all the strategy that there are these days, we've kind of gotten it down. Hello Tyrion, hello Eric. Let's see. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of pathfinding that works pretty well for it. Because you know when a dead end's gonna occur. You know that each thing is 6 off of the thing. We know that every keystone is 7 from each other. Is there any other, like, really vital info that people have found? Because I know the first one I ended up figuring out based on when someone mentioned it was the 7 from keystones. But one that I didn't mention that someone mentioned last night that I didn't realize at all, because I kind of noticed that too, like when I was going through like the 777 for the keystones, but I never even remotely noticed the every single boss room is 6 off the main path. The main path being designated based on the keystone to keystone. But from that keystone to keystone, once you figure that out, you can figure out what your main path is. And the boss door is always 6 rooms from that main path. It could be in any direction from it, from any point on the main path. However, it is always 6 from it. So if you know a path is going to go further than that, and you haven't reached a dead end yet, you can just simply go back. But yeah, there's a lot of pathfinding weird gimmicks for it. There's a lot of times where you already know when the dead end 2 is, because of the borders of the board. So if it like comes into itself, like for example, one that was very obvious, even without knowing the 6 away thing, was one that we had on ours this week. Was this one right over here? If I can go click on Underspire. Like this one right over here was really obvious that'd be a dead end. Right, where is it? Somewhere's over here, where'd it go? Or am I thinking of last week's thing? I could have sworn there was like a little... There's like a little square here where it's super obvious I was gonna dead end. Where'd it go? Okay, maybe it was on last week's board and I'm completely forgetting. Yeah, there's a little, yeah, I'm thinking of last week's, never mind. They're both meshing together at this point. But yeah, there was like, because I had like everything around it scalloped and it was very obvious it was just going to be a dead-end corner. Also, have we figured out any kind of strategy about where the loot room is? I only scouted 2 of them this time. They are not relevant at all. Actually, never mind. I only found 1 this entire time, which is kind of lucky, because you don't actually want to find them. These are completely useless rooms. Let's see, how far is it from a keystone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 from my keystone and 5 from a main path. I'm not sure if that's consistent. I don't have any data to go by this week because there's only 1 of them. Though luckily they aren't really that relevant, so that's not really one to know. Though knowing where it is can tell you where not to go, because you don't want to find it. So if there's some kind of strategy to finding where the loot room is, or the merchant, you would actually want to use that so you know where not to go. Not because you actually want to find it, but because you know that path is a dead path. I'm not sure if we found a strategy yet on how to do that consistently. And I don't have anywhere near enough data to figure it out this week. If I had my last week's map, I'd probably have a lot more data on that. Because I think I found almost every single one of them except for 2. So hello, Austin! Welcome, welcome. Oh, so I didn't just finish all the hellos. Let me go up a little. Hello, Supernova. Hello, Genki. Hello, Eric. Hello, hello, Jonian. Hello, Kikolia. Let's see. Hello, hello, Tyrion. Hello, let's see. 7 more than 6 rooms off the Keystone Path. Sometimes fewer rooms. Wait, can it be fewer rooms? I've never seen it be fewer rooms yet. Let's see. Hello, Austin, and hello, everyone else. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You had a boss room that was only 4 rooms off the main path. Interesting. I guess maybe if it's going to reach like a dead end or something, it'll go to a smaller amount. I can't recall if I've had one of those last week, because I didn't have any this week, that for sure. But I don't remember every detail of my other map. I do have a screenshot of it. Actually, I still need to go put it on my PC so I can show it for the video. Because I took it on my phone. Actually, I sent it to Isabel, but I took some better ones after. Because on one of them I had like my volume on it. Because in order to, I'm not sure if it's that way on like every phone. But on my one phone, in order to take a screenshot, unless you're using like some kind of third-party app, but to take it like directly through the phone system, kind of like how you click like print screen on a keyboard. But to do it on my phone, you have to click like the power button and volume button at the exact same time. And it's very annoying because sometimes I'll click just the power button or just the volume button. And what kept happening, because I didn't want to accidentally hit the power button without hitting the other thing, is I kept overhitting the volume button. So on some of the screenshots, the volume button was like on screen. Because unlike when I take like a screenshot like on this thing, it actually does take the volume thingy into account. Whereas if I was switching my volume on my PC, it would not take a picture of the overlay. But on phone, apparently it does. Because I'm so used to PCs, because on PC it doesn't do that. But on phone it does, oddly enough. So a couple of them just randomly have the volume meter just in the middle of the picture. It's not really blocking anything, but still. Yeah, you can see the new item in the game. Oh wait, which new item are you referring to? The shiny troop or something else? Let's see. I'll take that one out. Underspire has 69 rooms from start to under Diamantina room. Wait, is that actually true? If you did it perfectly? Because I know you in 69, so I'm not sure if that's 100% true or not. Though honestly, a flawless run does sound like it would be around there. Though getting a flawless run seems rather impossible. Even with every possible strategy. Just because even with utilizing every strategy we currently have, you're at least going to hit a few dead ends here and there. Which will bring you to like closer to like 80-ish. Even with optimal pathing. I know, whenever he says 69, I'm hesitant to believe such a claim. But honestly, that number seems pretty close to the minimum that it would take. Because, what? There's 6 doors. Each are 7 away from each other. You have to go a maximum of 6 away, though it's very unlikely to be your first path. But if you were to do that, that's 6 times 6, which is 36. 7 times 7, which is 49. No, it'd be higher than that. It'd be closer to like 80-something. Oh, why'd I do that? We were already taken out. Oh, is that one better? Yeah, it is. Let me go grab that one first. Guarded by a Barghest, which is always funny because that thing's better than the mythic that's based off of. There are a few troops that are based on other lower rarity troops, and almost all the time the lower rarity troop is actually better than the mythic it's based off of. I'm not sure why. Because Bargus is a better version of that one lion cat thingy. I forget his name because he's so unmeta. And Vashtagan is a mythic version of Black Beast, but is weaker than Black Beast. There's a few others that are kind of like that. Where it's a mythic based on a troop, but the original low rarity troop is better than the mythic. Which is kind of sad, but the case for several of them. Is there a guild option in the game? Yes. You go over to... Actually, isn't there just a guild tab? Now that I'm thinking about it. And if you're not currently in a guild, it'll ask you if you want to search for one. Actually, I forgot how the search system works. But yeah, just click on the guild tab. And click on guild here. And instead of going to this menu, you'll go to a menu that has like 2 different options. One of them is to search for a guild. I forget what the other one is. But some kind of screen to help you find a guild. And you can also try finding them in global chat, as to be recruited in any of the global chats, as well as on the forums. Because the Gems of War forums actually are used on the official website. I know most games just use Reddit these days, but Gems of War is one of those few communities where the actual forum for the game... Well, for one, it actually has a forum for the game. And 2, it's actually used. Because I feel like a lot of times these days, if a game has an official forum, it's like never actually used. But Gems of War surprisingly is. Actually, I believe it's the only game I know that actually has an active forum. Like the forum designated for the game being active. Because I feel like most other games just use Reddit these days or something similar. Which is funny because almost no one on Gems of War uses Reddit. Like, there is a Reddit group for Gems of War, but it has less usage than the forum somehow. Another one down. We're basically halfway there. Normally I have to get to about 230 for completion. And we should get at least one more Valraven there. We'll get 3 more battles from tomorrow. So hopefully we get 2 more Valravens, as we will need that. Also, I just realized something funny. Weekend faction events are technically already 16 stages. And now events like next week's Invasions are also going to be 16 stages. An absolutely flawless run is 78 rooms. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's very unlikely to occur, though. Yeah, that sounds about right. They're almost always going to hit a few, like, semi-dead ends. But yeah, that does mean, maybe next week we'll start throwing down 150 per day. Because how many torches is that? 150 per day? Well, let's see. By default, you get 7 per day, so that's 49. If you were to go... 50 is definitely too few. I wouldn't feel safe doing that, even if we get, like, optimal pathing. Because that's going to be 5 more per day. That's 35 onto 49, which is 84. Which is not that much leeway at all. But if you were to do 150... Which, oddly enough, was our lowest pulled one when we pulled it earlier. Well, 150 might actually end up being the meta once we really get a hang of the pathing, which we've kind of almost gotten at this point. But, plus this is going to get better over time, unless they change how it works. But, at 150, that would be what? That would be 7 plus 10, 17 per day. 17 times 7 is 119, I believe I did the math right there. So that seems doable. My first ever attempt was under 119. Like the first week when we didn't really know what we were doing. Like that was under 119. So I feel like, yeah, that seems like enough. And you would also know by like the last 2 days, like, oh, do I need to spend a little bit more gems on like Saturday or Sunday? Because you would kind of know based on where you are at. on if you would or wouldn't need to do so. Yeah, I might just start doing 150 per day, because if we do that, and assume we get it done by Saturday, and don't have to do the final day, how many would that be? 6 times 150 is, 900. So we can get it under 1,000 gem cost every week, pretty consistently, even if we mess up some. But yeah, that'd be under 1,000 for everything. Which, honestly, that's not that bad. And if you need the gems for it, you could stop doing, not Vault Event. You could stop doing, oh gosh, what's the mode called? Wow, what is that mode called? Bounty Hunter. Because Bounty Hunter takes a similar amount of gems. It takes like 710 plus a blue orb. Around there. If you want to get like all loot from Bounty Hunter. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that would be right under 1,000. Well, need to try it next week and see what happens. Highly doubt we'll get that unlucky. But you never know. Yeah, the gold, silver, and pet orb are like the 3 main things you do it for. But yeah, you get quite a bit good of loot along the way. Like, the double major glory is by far the main reason why you would ever do Underspire. As that loot is insanely good. But, you know, you also get a silver along the way, a bronze along the way, an orb of ascension, which you could put towards something. You get a pet orb. You get quite a few knick-knack stuff. Even some stuff to help newer players, like an orange orb's in there. A little bit of Dragonite. I think there's some curse runes there. Pretty small amount for those other currencies, but you know, they add up. The 100 to 500 non-pure team wasn't that quick. For which one? For the low rarity one? Well, the low rarity one wasn't supposed to be quick. It was supposed to be cheap. Because Chalcedony spam is pretty slow. Most infinite loop teams are actually pretty slow. They're meant to more so be cheap than viable more often than not. Because whenever we show a low rarity team, it is always for, well, that, low rarity. It's not supposed to be like the most optimal thing to run, but rather the cheapest thing to run that can viably get it done. Oh, it was really fast. Oh, never mind. I read that completely wrong. I thought you said it wasn't that fast. My bad. I completely read that incorrectly. I added like a word to it. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no problem. I was gonna say, though Chalcedony team is a little bit towards the slower side. But it does get the job done. It's a really fun team to look at, though. There's actually 3 of them in the team, in the game. Chalcedony, that one purple elf, and Todd. All work out really, really nicely. I feel like Todd's the strongest of the 3. But all 3 of them are really, really good for Infinite Loop. Todd's the most popular because of all the green synergies he has. I said, hello, Yatstamorph. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. That's why we need more journey events. Yeah, I'm not sure why we've gotten so few. We've had like 5 total journey events in almost 2 years now. It's kind of insane. It's one of those modes they added and then like kind of forgot existed. It seems like they're going to start doing it a lot more often going forward though. Because of the new system that they just added. And I'm kind of curious. Journey events had some of the best loot of any weekly event. And they're moving to 16 stages now instead of 12. So I'm curious to see how that impacts the loot. As they already had the best loot of any mode. So are they going to put some extra deed books in there or something? Because that's huge if so. Because it was already one of the better events for getting deed books. It just barely ever happens. And if it's going to happen more commonly and have 4 more reward tiers, that could potentially be adding some more deed books in there. It's really going to be some good loot. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. As, I don't think we currently know what it will be giving. Like, we know that will have, like, some shiny keys and stuff like that. But we don't know if it's going to have more deed books or something similar. Like, specifically on, journey weeks. Because one of the whole premises of journeys is that the main loot that you get from the reward tiers are deed related. Like Imperials, standard color deeds, deed books, stuff like that. Like, that's the whole main gimmick of it. As far as rewards are concerned. But yeah, all the shiny cards will be in, or not shiny cards, but more so shiny keys will be in the reward tiers for every weekly event. Also, I'm curious if there will be some guaranteed tokens as well. I think there are. So, for example, we might be able to earn shiny tokens for the new Epic Trip coming out next week via the Invasion event. We're definitely going to be able to earn the keys. But I believe we can also earn some of the token. Like right now, they're trying to sell 5 of the token for like $10, which means I guess they value it like $2 per token, which is kind of scary if so, because I wonder exactly what the accumulation rate's going to be over time, because we need what, 30 tokens per troop, 20 tokens, somewhere around there. I think it was 5, 10, 15, right? Because if so, that would be 30. So we need like 30 shiny tokens per troop. It's a lot of tokens when we're only getting 1, 2, 3 at a time, because that's how much you get from opening a key. You guarantee get at least 1, you have a small chance to get 2, and you have a very, very small chance to get 3. It's going to take a while to get some troops maxed. Also, could you not have Submerge? That'd be great. Another one down. Also, let's go ahead and the code. Also, is it me? Am I going crazy? Why does the text on that screen look smaller? Is it just me? Or ever since this patch, does the loot chest, or does the loot that shows at the end of a event like that, at the end of a faction, look smaller? Because that definitely looks smaller to me than before 8.0. Also, it is technically Shark Week right now, I think. So here you guys go, Shark Code. We've been handing them out all month. But there we go. We'll continue handing them out tomorrow and Tuesday. However, after that, I'm going to be shelving whatever few I still have left and save them for some other time. So tomorrow and Tuesday are the last time to get them. I'm pretty sure all of you guys by now have it. But if you know anyone who still needs them, I'll be handing them out for 2 more days. And then I'll keep a couple on reserve and hand them out for special occasions. Because we will have a few spare after this month. Probably like 5 of them or so. And while they're not as cool to bring out as like a gem-related code, still a little bit more than nothing. Does anyone have any good patterns for dungeons? You're on the longest perfect dungeon droughts ever right now. I'm not sure if anyone ever figured anything out. They supposedly made it truly random. However, I'm pretty sure it's still not truly random. So I'm pretty sure there's some underground info on it somewheres. Because last time there was a lot of public info on it, they completely changed how it worked. And it's supposed to be true random now. Though, I'm pretty sure there's still some kind of way around it. Because at one point it wasn't true random. I just have to ask the devs for another cosmetic pet. I don't know, anytime I've asked for special custom codes in the last, like, year, I've never gotten any. And the only reason I even got Sharky codes is I think someone else asked for them. And they just gave it to everyone who was normally getting codes. Because I was not the one who requested for Sharky codes. But we did get Sharky codes. Are the devs still around? Kind of. Not to the same degree they used to be back in the day. I remember way back in the day when the game first started, back when they were still on the other forums. Though even some at the newer forums too. You were able to actually talk, like, directly with the lead developers of the game. Like, they literally would just be checking the forum every single day. It only lasted for, like, the first 2 years of the game, though. It was great, because you could literally just ask them anything. There's also when we got a lot of info on, like, the exact percentages for things. Like the mana surge formula and a couple other things like that. Because people literally just asked them, and then, like, a few days later, they'd be like, oh, here's the formula for this. But yeah, they're not really on the forums or anything these days. Oh yeah, that was Salty that was doing the streams. I'm talking before then. Because even when Salty was doing it, they were kind of gone by then. Because she wasn't really a developer on the game, more so just a decent community manager. I kept tabs on the community pretty well. But I'm talking even before that. Because the two that you were normally able to get in contact with, which are probably like the two biggest people that work on Gems of War for the most part, as far as impact on it, are Nimhane and Surian. Surian being lead developer, Steve Funker, and both the same person. But he goes by Surian on the forums, Steve Funker in real life. And the other one was Nimhane. I forget what Nimhane's actual name is. But those are like the two most influential people on the game. But they're not really around these days. Like, you'll never see them on the forum. It's hard to get in contact with them directly. But they're in the main two, from what I understand. Yeah, I'm not going crazy. That text is definitely smaller, right? The text on the reward screen when you get the chest. I never recall it looking like that. I'm not sure what it is that is different, but it is definitely different. I refuse to believe otherwise. There's no way it looked like that prior to this patch. And I never really noticed it because I don't normally spam delves, because I don't do daily delves. This is like one of the first times since the patch when I've been able to do a bunch of them. Yeah, the text is smaller now. That's what I thought. Because, yeah, this weekend's basically the first time I've done a bunch of Underworld, or, yeah, Underworld, since the patch. So it's the first time I've really had the chance to notice it. But that is 100% different than what it was before. It's a subtle change, but, yeah, it's I don't like it. I prefer how it was before. It's not that big a deal. Especially because we barely even touch Underworld to begin with. Actually, I've been skipping a lot of the Tuesday events, too. When I was gone, I didn't even bother doing it. And I think the week before that, I didn't bother doing it because that was the big 7.0 patch day. So this is actually the first time I've bothered doing the Underworld in like 3 weeks now. Because 2 Tuesdays ago, we skipped it because it was 7.0. So obviously we're focusing on 7.0 things and not the faction event. Last week I skipped it because it was gone. I just didn't really have the time to bother doing it for like an entire half an hour or whatever it normally takes. So this is the first time I've bothered doing it since the patch at this point. That's hello, Emernator! Welcome, welcome. That's hello, chat if you didn't say hi. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, they also changed the cards for the rooms. I don't mind that as much. Like, that one I knew about immediately. But, oh no, that one doesn't really impact much. Wouldn't say it's worse, I wouldn't say it's better, it's just different. Whereas the other one is worse. Like, it still has the same color coordination, so the symbols on them doesn't really matter too much. As long as they maintain the same coloration, which they do. They're still all color-coded. Hello, ABAC. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. Hope you've been having a wonderful weekend. I'm still in like slight vacation mode, I've noticed, since I've gotten back. It'll happen after a week away. The weather's been so nice, too. I was gonna say, how are you still alive? It's because you get the revive. And that's why we have, what's his name? Oh, so I just realized, I'm still using him at 150. You're supposed to stop using this guy at 100 or so. Whenever I show a team for 20 to 100, that's just like guesstimation, or, you know, around that area. But yeah, this is one of them that stops getting its super viability after that point. It just stops being able to one-shot. But yeah, I've still been using it, apparently. I didn't even notice. Still using this team. Whoops. Yeah, it's getting the job done. But you know what? Let's go try the new Zolgoth. Because I believe we use new Zolgoth Iron Gut for this faction. Let's see. Yeah, this guy. But yeah, Hiking Iron Gut, Cathargrix, Angry Mob, and Harpy Mage. Not specifically in that order, but that is the team. Let's see what we can do with this thing. It will help if I paste the team in there. Alright, let's see what we can do with this. Hello, Ricardo. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we all have still been doing pretty good. Alright, get our Guaranteed Devour. Do it again. Get our Guaranteed Devour. Destroy everything. Get all the mana we need. Destroy the whole board. Already dead. Wow, that goes quick. But yeah, I like new Zolgoth. I both hate him and love him. He's definitely like S+ tier. But he is the weirdest S+ tier currently in the game. Because sometimes he's horrible. But when he's not, he's like the best troop in existence. His consistency is not as high as I would like for a really good troop. But despite that, he's so good you just kind of have to run him. Oh, you have immune, don't you? I'm not sure why I thought you didn't. Let me kill with these Zolgoth then. Or other new Zolgoth, I should say. He's basically the Zolgoth. Zolgoth 2.0. Or inverse Zolgoth more so. I still find his final trait to be kind of weird though. Because it makes sense on Zolgoth because he creates skulls, but this guy having 5 extra stats when he hits a skull, like it makes sense because you know, they would both have like the same final trait because of the manifestation thingy. But it still doesn't make sense because this guy does not use skulls. He's quite the opposite of what a skull user would be. I hope you've been doing well, Ricardo. Glad to see you again. We just got back from a break. Also, can I stop hitting things that have immune to Devour? You know what's really throwing me off with immune to Devour? I'm so used to looking at the side of the card just to double check, like, oh, does this thing have immune to Devour or not? And the problem is, you can't do that anymore. Because they got rid of that in 7.0. Because that's such a habit of mine if I do happen to forget. Is to look at the side of the card and be like, okay, that thing has immune to Devour or doesn't have immune to Devour. But now if you want to check, like I know that none of these do, but if you want to check, you have to go all the way over here to check. Whereas before you could like partially check just by looking at the side of the card. But you can't do that anymore, unfortunately. Which keeps throwing me off. Good old new Zolgoth. Like old Zolgoth, but more mana accumulaty and way more missy. But when it doesn't miss, it's insanely good. Also now with Curse, instead of Burn Freeze as Curse Fairy Fire. So the Curse Fairy Fire isn't guaranteed, but you normally get part of it. Throw that down, get our Devour, get our mana. How are you still not full? And that should be matched. Throw down one of those. Throw down one of these. I just realized our extra turn is actually going to make it so I don't have enough damage here. Or enough mana, I mean. And there we go. You wish you could choose the luck of the card. You missed the original cards. Yeah, that was one thing that happened back when they did like a huge visual change. There was like a push for, hey, you should keep like all the old graphics in it and everything. But they ultimately weren't able to, mostly because of mobile version. Like if this game was only on PC, or potentially even only on PC plus console, they could maybe do it. But to keep file size smaller, they can't really keep all the old assets of any previous visual that they've ever had in the game. Because there was a huge push for that back when they did the OG complete overhaul of the visuals in the game. Back when it went from what it originally looked like at launch to what it basically looked like pretty much as of like a couple months ago. Maybe not exactly that, but you know. When they made like the huge shift from what it used to be to the slightly more modern look, there was a huge push to get them to like have a slider or, you know, an option where you could like toggle it on and off. But the mobile version is the main reason they weren't able to do that. So I highly doubt they're going to do it this time around either, for a similar reason. Also, I would love if you could learn how to land an extra turn. If this thing can learn how to land extra turns, it would be the strongest troop in the entire game. The problem is it doesn't quite do that. But once it figures out how, it'll be very strong. It reminds me so much of Beatrix in that regard. And one of the reasons I use it a bit more minimally. It's so ridiculously powerful, but gosh, when it misses, it's just so bad. And it's basically this mythic in a nutshell. Like, it's basically exactly like Beatrix like that, because I hate using inconsistent troops like that. But Beatrix is so strong that you just have to use it, even due to its inconsistency. And this mythic's the same way. Like, yeah, it'll completely give the enemy full mana and curse Blight your entire team, or curse, not Blight, curse Fair Fire, I mean. But, you know, when it does work, it's just so strong that you can't really not run it. But his miss rate is so insanely high. It's even worse than Beatrix's. Because he has like a 70-ish% miss rate. Obviously a little bit less depending on what the board state is. But if you're just throwing on a generic board, he has anywhere from a 60 to 70% miss rate on extra turn. Even Zolgoth was better than that. Plus he had freeze to back up on. Whereas this doesn't have the freeze to go with it. Obviously Zolgoth plus him does. But that doesn't help when you're only running him. Yeah, this team actually is really quick. I assume this is the team someone was mentioning earlier when they said the team from 100 to 500 that you showed was really quick. I assume they were using this one. Because yeah, this thing is super, super quick. I think this is the first time I've really had the chance to use it this much. Specifically for Underworld. Like, I've used it in non-Underworld, testing around with it. But it's the first time I've thrown this many Underworld battles using this. And yeah, it gets the job done pretty quick. As does most double insta-kill teams. Which is pretty much the entire meta when running higher pieces of content. Because as things get higher in stats, it is generally more efficient just to instantly kill them than to try killing them with normal means. Just because their stats start to get too high, that's not realistic to kill them through normal damage. You still could, it just takes a bit longer. Also, let me get rid of him. He actually has Entangle on his thing. And I don't want to deal with that, given that we have a thing that really much does not want to be entangled in first slot. I'll catch you later, Chad. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good weekend. Oh, what do we even need here? I'll take that over. I wasn't even paying attention to what convert thing he had. Luckily, it didn't really do that much. Before you do anything, let me get rid of that. Get our mana. Kill the one that has insta-kill, just in case it wants to do it. And of course, he misses. What's new? Yeah, New Mythic is pretty nice. Even though you don't have the skull pressure from Zolgoth, a lot of times the skulls would do nothing in higher pieces of content, because you wouldn't have enough skull damage to kill out necessarily. And one nice thing about this is his mana accumulation is always useful. Oh, well, assuming it lands. But assuming he lands with his mana accumulation, that's actually a lot more useful sometimes than Zolgoth's skulls. Because a lot of times Zolgoth Skulls, particularly when you start getting to higher stats, is not enough to kill. Whereas his mana accumulation will always feed into something with kill. Either back into himself or into Iron Gut. Because you generally use both of them together. Those are his two biggest synergy troops. Him with Zolgoth and him with Iron Gut are the two bigger ones that you have access to. There's a few other things you could do with it, like Tesla and such, and, you know, other things like that. But Iron Gut and Zolgoth are the two bigger synergy things. Also, one thing I haven't tried doing yet, which would be kind of funny, using all three together. So far, I've only built teams with the two. I've never bothered putting all three. The problem with that is you'd only be able to have one mana accumulator, which would likely have to be Throw or something for how much mana you would need. I'll do that, get our Angry Mob. Should be enough to get us rolling. Get our Devour onto the only thing that can be devoured. However, as soon as we do this, and he doesn't miss... No, he missed! I was trying to get the curse on him so I can devour everything. So normally these two troops have immune to devour, but of course after he gets the curse down, we can simply just Iron Gut it, and that's of course their big synergy that they have. Even better than Zolgoth, because Zolgoth does not have curse. It can still insta-kill the things that have immune to devour, but it can't apply curse for you, but this guy can. So we can simply just throw the Iron Gut down, get our insta-kill, and kill the other one with the other insta-kill. Works out really nicely. I keep forgetting. Gosh. That's like the third time to stream I've accidentally tried insta-killing something with immune. I'm so used to seeing it next to the card just to double-check. Yep, we already had enough skull damage. Nice. Iron Gut does do that. Iron Gut gets a lot of attack. Because every single time it devours, it takes all the attack stat from the enemy. That definitely adds up. We almost already have full mana well. I'll throw that down, get rid of the insta-killer just in case it feels like doing so. And that's already matched. There we go. Take out one of those, take out one of those. And he actually landed extra turn for once, so it doesn't really matter because we already have everything. And that gives you so much yellow mana too. Those big giant yellow gems, when they land on extra turn, there's basically full yellow mana on everything on your team. We're using 3 yellows this time around. Anything that isn't the Angry Mob. We do have a Mash Destroyer that is yellow though, Bork. And it is getting a buff 2 weeks from now, I believe is I will eventually remember the name of the mode. There's so many modes these days, I'm starting to forget. Gosh, why can I not remember? Legends Reborn. The Legends Reborn event for Donna, I believe, is 2 weeks from now. Not next week, but the following week. And then we get the Bork buff. We get a Tesla buff, like it needs it. As well as a Tina 9000 buff. They're all getting 5 to all stats because of the pet that they get. And the Bork is free as well. The Bork and the useless one are both free. And then the Tesla one is gem locked, and the other one is money locked. Though the money locked one and the gem locked one will be available into the future. About 6 weeks from then, from the event. Since Zolgoth doesn't create skull combos, you just put Bork in front and running wand with stars. Yeah, you can end up doing that too. I'm really curious to see how much better Bork will be with 5 more destroys. See if that'll be enough to get him into some synergy teams. Because that puts him enough ahead of some other options that it would definitely be enticing to use him a bit more. Because in Underworld, it doesn't matter as much because you have way more than enough to destroy the entire board. But that's more relevant for outside of Underworld, like for Guild Wars and stuff like that. Bork might start seeing a lot more usage. Because in Underworld, you already have infinite mana. Or, you know, you only need 64, and you generally have enough later in the game to have that threshold. But not in Underworld, you generally don't have enough to do it. So I'll be curious to see exactly how that pans out. Going into next week. Or 2 weeks from now. Also, not to mention shiny versions. It doesn't currently have shiny. However, if it does eventually get shiny, then that can change things up quite a bit too. So far, no primary mana accumulator in the game has become shiny. Like, nothing that is, like, the meta for mana accumulation that was already insane has had a shiny variant yet. I feel like they're eventually going to add a Glory Troop, and that Glory Troop is going to become, like, the new meta for that or something. Because now if they add a strong Glory Troop, that strong Glory Troop is going to be ultra strong. Because it could potentially be the shiny of the week. Though it seems like they're mostly adding the shinies through raids and evasions, but still, if they had like an insane raid or evasion or Journey Troop. Journeys would be the most broken. Could you imagine a shiny Journey Troop that's as strong as like Todd or Chalcedony or something? Could you imagine that? How insane that would end up being. That's hello, YouTube. Welcome, welcome. But, wow, that would be so broken. Because that might eventually happen. Because if they're only doing it through that event, or, you know, doing it through whatever one comes in through that, we're eventually having another journey. And that journey will eventually have another troop similar to those. And that troop will become shiny. Meaning not only is it 2 lower mana cost, but also gets some kind of extra special effect on its ability. Shiny Merilith would be fun. I would actually love to see that. Like some of the less used one, like Egg Thief would be fun too. Egg Thief used to be so meta back in the day. But it kind of fell off a bit compared to the billion other destroys in the game. Oh, why did I do that? Should have just killed one of the other ones. He was already basically dead. I guess it didn't really matter. And there we go. I'll catch you later, Ricardo. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good rest of your weekend. Shiny Peasant. Could you imagine? Make his ability have a 50% chance to insta-kill first slot. Make his ability so every skull he destroys, he has a 33% chance to insta-kill. There's a lot of weird things they could do with shinies, as far as effects and everything. Also, is there anywhere in the game itself where you can check what a shiny troop's ability is? Have they posted that yet on Terran's Road or anything? Because I still don't know what any of the effects are for the second shiny. Or, you know, when you get the second shiny level. Because it's going to be different for every troop. So there's not like one kind of universal thing that you can look at. Because the first and final upgrade is consistent for all of them. They get 1 lower mana cost and then 1 lower mana cost again. But the second perk that they get is completely unique for every troop in the game. Hey, can you see it on the troop itself? Let me go check. Because that'd be very convenient. I didn't see it when I was on that page earlier. Guess I just missed it. Let's see. Alright, let's bring up Crystal. It doesn't say. Well, I guess that's just a lore, but it doesn't say what it does. It says upgraded spell. Also, what is the extra lore for Crystal? Crystals live alongside the merfolk of Merlantis in peaceful harmony and have long enjoyed a relationship built on mutual respect. The mer people defend the reef, keeping all who live there safe. And the crystals act as living artworks, their shiny backs inspiring awe in those who pass them by. Oh, there we go. But, yeah, where does this say what it does? Because this says upgrade spell, which obviously upgraded spell could be anything. Like, literally anything. Is there anywhere that we could check where it tells you what it actually does? Because upgraded spell means absolutely nothing. As far as telling us what on earth it does. Because obviously that's going to change how their spell interacts. Either giving it some extra power, or an extra effect, or something else. But it's going to affect it whenever they cast their spell specifically. Well, what that specifically does is different for everything in the game that ever gets shiny. Oh, is the new kingdom gonna make it before the end of the year? Do we know that yet? Like the official date for the new kingdom? Because this would be the first year in like 5 years that they add more than one kingdom within a year. It's not quite the same as like the 4 to 6 we used to have way back in the day. Because they can never do that rate again, otherwise there'd be way too many kingdoms coming into the game. But, oh, December? Oh, it is! Nice! Yeah, this will be the first year in about 5 years that they add more than one kingdom in a year. They used to be a very common occurrence way back when. But obviously they had to slow down the pace so that they didn't over-hoard the game with the kingdoms. And they're still going to need to figure out a way to rebalance the kingdom system. Because every newer kingdom keeps coming in with too few troops compared to where every other kingdom's at. Wow, we already know that far ahead? I didn't even check Terran's World that far down. We already know until the end of the year? Wow. I just realized something, though. Despite that, they haven't posted a roadmap yet, have they? I don't believe they have posted a roadmap anywheres for the rest of the year. They should be before the end of this month, or pretty soon. Or maybe not before the end of this month, there's only like 2 days left, but... I could have sworn they said they were going to for the rest of the year. But I don't think they have on the forum yet. Let's see, the troop art is out. For what? Let me go see. What is this link? Let's see. Let me check the Genki link. What am I looking at here? I'm not sure if it's my computer, but nothing's loading in. I'm on whatever page you're on, but it's not loading in like any info. I can see the banner for the new kingdom. As well as the long list of troops. The other icon isn't loading for some reason on my other computer, though. Could also be that a lot of it isn't in the game yet. Like, fully in the game. Because obviously it's still ways to go before it gets implemented. Oh, why'd I do that? I should have cast the Catharix guy. Catharix. I think someone in the comment section on one of the other videos mentioned like how to pronounce the name better. I like Catharix, though. That sounds kind of correct. For my standard of how words are pronounced. It kind of sounds like a word. So I think this will be the last one we do for now. We did from 20 to 100 the first day, 100 to 200 today, and then we'll finish it out tomorrow night. Nice triple breakdown, so we're not doing it all at once. I need red. So I just was like, oh no, he's entangled or webbed. How are we going to do any damage? Oh, I forgot. It's entangle that makes him do nothing. Because normally when something is webbed, their spell does a lot less. But because Iron Guts, all of his damage is basically based on what his attack value is, he's kind of inverse in that his spell is disabled basically when he's entangled, rather than like a normal troop when it's disabled when it's webbed. Not fully disabled, but you know what I mean. Doing a lot less. But he basically has no difference. If he's capable of devouring something, he's just as competent at when he's webbed and not webbed. Because the whole thing that matters is if he gets to the devour or not. The Bizarro Zolgoth. He's basically just the other Zolgoth. Which is the other name we've just been calling him. Just the other Zolgoth. Because everyone will know exactly who it is if you just say the other Zolgoth. Like, there's Zolgoth, and then there's the not Zolgoth. But similar premise. Also, I just realized we haven't had a raid event yet. We've never gotten to see this guy in raids yet. Because we do eventually have to fight him. And he has 6 different variants. Well, technically 7 if you count the player-owned one. Exactly like Zolgoth does. So next raid event, we're going to have to fight this guy the entire time instead of Zolgoth. What medals do you recommend for pure 500? Medals? As in, well, normally you run 20% into 8 magic. Unless there's something you really have to counter in a given faction. You almost always run 20% into 8 magic for it. Especially if you're referring to the one this weekend. Because there's no specific stats effect that you really need to counter. Zolgoth 2.0, the Mana Misaru. That's about right. Yeah, his consistency is so bad, but when he works, he's just so good. He's consistent enough to still obliterate everything. It's just his extra turn capability is so bad there. Look at that. Like, I would probably never use this guy in Guild War. Like, I'm pretty sure he's unusable in Guild War. But in a lot of modes like this, it's perfectly fine. But I do not foresee myself ever using this guy in Guild War. Except for the next Guild War, because you know we're going to try it just for the fun of it. But beyond that, we are never going to use him in Guild War ever again. After next Guild War. Alright, let's go clear out some of the other stuff. I haven't touched the other dailies. In all fairness, there's not too many of them here. But hey, 10 gems, they add up. 10 gems is not a lot of gems, but it's more than 0 gems. Every little bit keeps going into the stack. Here's the patch notes in a nutshell. Bugs. Bass dragging. Wait, have they changed the audio for the game? Improved tone deafness. Upgraded out-of-touch skills and 100% less playtesting. No, they actually did playtest this. They had the whole beta going. Not sure how many people are in it these days. Because I haven't bothered doing it in years. But they actually did have a beta playtest for 7.0. How much testing they did on their own internally, probably near 0. But otherwise, they did technically have playtesting for this one. They don't always for every patch, but they did actually for 7.0. It was such a buggy mess during the beta that they actually did improve it. Could only imagine. There's been some very funny bugs in the beta. In past betas that I've participated in. As well as many that still made it into the game itself. As well as very weird economy changes that was brought to their attention that they never changed. That are still like that. Like, why on earth are level 500 factions still pointless? To this day, a level 500 faction is still useless to do compared to just camping a lower level. And they still have not addressed it. It has been brought to their attention before it was even in the game. And like 5-6 years later, it has still not been changed at all. Oh no, we got weakness trap. Oh no, we got stun trap. Oh gosh, we're getting everything. At least we got a little bit of garnet there, I guess. Alright, let's go run Zolgoth and new Zolgoth, I guess. I was like, I need to go play around the fact that he is immune to Devour, but I forgot we actually don't need to. Because we don't have Devour anymore. All we have are insta-kills. No Devour. Imagine new Zolgoth once they make it so power gems no longer overwrite the same color. He will immediately go from being a strong mythic to the best mythic in the game. If they ever do that. I'm not sure if they ever will. But that's all they have to do. is make it so power gems of the same colors do not overwrite same colored gems. Because right now, a yellow power gem can overwrite yellow, a green one can overwrite green, so on and so forth. But if they made that so that was not the case across everything in the game, not only would that improve a lot of troops, but this thing would be so broken. And I hope they eventually do that because it would make sense. It's kind of weird that it doesn't already do that. But if they ever do, he's going to be the biggest beneficiary of it ever. Because I believe he's currently the only troop in the game that creates 3 different power gems. Also, do you guys remember Evolved Gorgotha? That one's called King Gorgotha. He's slightly different. I miss Evolved Gorgotha, the 6-color Gorgotha that was kind of like that, except slightly different. You were even able to summon him at one point. You were never able to own him. But there was a point in the game where you could summon him off of random daemon summon. Meaning you could technically use it even though it was never ownable. Yeah, we cleared out that. Underspire has been cleared for a while. We need to go cover the video tomorrow. Is that everything? Oh, I guess we technically have to help with the guild event. I did say I would help some. We should probably help some. Let's see, are we dead last? Okay, we gotta keep helping until we're not dead last anymore. Let's go assists. Oh, yeah, thanks for reminding me. Gotta switch to medals. Oh yeah, I stopped doing the betas because they generally don't listen to that much feedback. Like, they'll listen to most of the bug feedback, though even that, they don't even listen to all the things. But when it comes to other, like, really important other feedback, or even mentioning old bugs, because there was a lot of times I would just post an entire list I was keeping of, like, every old bug that they still haven't fixed. And they'd be lucky if they would do even, like, 2 from that list. Because they were mostly just fixing the newer bugs, not the older ones. Oh, that's a huge miss off of Sakura-X there. Nice insta-kill coming in though. I was gonna say, how did that do enough damage? I forgot. We're in, we have 160% damage metal this week. A lot of extra damage. Why'd I do that on 6 HP? That didn't really do much, did it? A little overkill there. Just slightly. Skull, come on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I've definitely made a lot of questionable decisions over the years. I still really enjoy Gems of War, though. It's probably the longest I've ever consecutively stayed with a game as well. Like, there are games I've played for a longer amount of times, like on and off, like RuneScape, for example. And we're still playing it, by the way. I haven't done a stream for it for a while, but we'll cover one again. Who knows, maybe this Wednesday or something. Do, like, Song of the Elves quest or something. Of all the elven people. Because they basically expanded that storyline a couple years back. Quite a few really fun game modes, too, that I've never tried. And we'll do that next stream for it. Let's see. Yeah, that's like a game I played on and off for like 20 years now. But, you know, I didn't like consecutively play it the entire time. Gems of War, we've consecutively played for 9 years now. It's the 9-year anniversary of Gems of War in this November. Which I'm pretty sure is the longest I've ever played one singular game without ever taking a break from it. So hello, Rufa! Welcome, welcome. But yeah, the Gems of War community's been great as well. It's one of the best communities I've ever seen in a game. Even though the devs themselves have been a little bit less communicative than past years. But the community itself's still been just as great. Hey, are we almost not dead? Last? We're doing like bare minimum to not be the absolute lowest in our guild this year. Or this week, I mean. I think 2 or 3 more fights. $4K's minimum. Technically, minimum is whatever gets our entire guild completed. So, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I don't think I've ever kicked anyone for not doing enough during an event unless they were doing, like, literally nothing. As long as the event gets done, that is what I consider minimum. As long as by the end of Sunday, all the reward tiers say complete, then everyone has done the minimum. And keep in mind, it is going to be a little bit harder to do for some of the events going forward now, as you will require 16 instead of the normal 14 stages. That doesn't apply to World Event, but it will apply to like raids and evasions. So hopefully people won't slack on that, and we won't be next week. But that will be a bit more of a factor as well. Azala disagrees. I don't know, that's what I've always considered the minimum for the guild. As long as everyone's contributing, and by the end of the week it says we've gotten all rewards, that's all we need. But yeah, not every single week is going to be 16 tiers. But raids, invasions, Tower of Doom... The Tower of Doom is so free. Because that one gives you so many excess points. But Tower of Doom, raids, invasions, and journey events. With raids and invasions, with invasions being next week, being the hardest 2. And I say hardest 2 because those 2 normally aren't... like, you don't tend to have a lot of excess points on those modes. Compared to something like Tower of Doom, where having 4 extra tiers means nothing, because you just play it normally and you're already going to have way more than enough points. And Journey is slightly like that, but Raids and Evasion, we're actually going to have to actively go out of our way to get more points. Like, I might even just buy in at tier 4 or 5 instead of, like, 3 or whatever I normally do. Who knows, I might even click the thing to buy into tier 7. I highly doubt it, though. I wonder if they'll have a different extra loot there. This week was an orb. If it's always just an orb, it's probably not worth it. But technically it could be 2 orbs, because isn't tier 6 enough to make leaderboard? Because if it is, that could kind of be worth it. Though it's probably luck-based if you do, though. You would need to get good pathing and, you know, lucky on the battles to get enough points. Yes, it is a loot upgrade. We're going to be getting shiny keys. We're going to be getting extra loot related to the event. And a few other knick-knack stuff. What the full list is, we'll figure out well, as of next week. And it could be different from every event to event. But yeah, we'll be able to get some shiny keys and stuff like that. It's actually, I believe, one of the main ways you get shiny keys is through tiers 13 to 16 on events. And I believe you also get some shiny tokens for whatever the weekly troop is. So, for example, next week's invasion troop is the really good goblin that will define the gold meta going forward. And that guy... Oh, why'd I do it on him? He was not even close. But that guy, not only will you be getting shiny keys from the event, but you should also be getting some shiny tokens to go towards him. Probably enough to get him up to rarity 1, hopefully. I'm not sure if it'll give you that many, but it'll give you some amount towards him. Definitely at least a few, like 3 or something. Though it could be more. We don't really know number-wise what it'll be. Will the troop type be wrong for next week? No, I don't think it will. It's already correct on the flash offer. So I'm pretty sure it'll be correct on the other thing. Unless they somehow make the one that's money locked correct and the one that isn't money locked incorrect somehow. But the one that's currently money locked is correct. This is the correct troop. This is a troop we're getting on Monday. Through the event. Yeah, that's correct. Anyways. Okay. Have we not hit last place now? Also, let's see. What's our points at? So I was mentioning earlier that Azala was saying it was 4,000. Well, it can't be 4,000, because if it's 4,000, 2/3 of our guild have not reached a minimum. If our minimum is 4,000 this week, there's no way it's that high. Minimum is, does this say completed? But, I don't even think Azala's over 4,000. Wait, where's Azala? Wait, where? Oh, never mind, she is. Never mind. How many tiers will we have to go for the weekly event? That we don't know. It could be variable as well. If I had to guess, probably around tier 4 or 5? Though, oh no, because we don't really know how many points it's going to take. This has never happened before, so it could be anything. But we'll find out next week. But if I had to guess, it's probably around tier 4 or 5. I might click the tier 7 button. We'll see, because our gem's obviously being used for a lot of things, mostly Underspire these days. But I don't know, we might click the tier 7 button next week, we'll see. But we're definitely buying at least tier 4 or 5 or something. The reason I almost want to click tier 7 is I definitely want to max out the new raid troop. And it'll save us having to use the blue orbs anyways. Plus we get the extra orb, plus we might make leaderboard. So we might just tier 7 next week, we'll see. He's a really meta-defining troop, so I really want to make sure we max him immediately. Also, who knows, maybe you get some shiny tokens towards him too. This is the first time we're ever getting something that's in like the shiny token system. And if buying max tier for max gems gives you some shiny tokens, I might actually do it. I wouldn't do that every single time, but if the troop is better, like this time around, I would. Like, I definitely wouldn't go for this. This just seems like a waste of money for the most part. But, well, it could kind of be okay. It really comes down to, we don't really know how rare shiny tokens are going to be overall. Like, we don't really know what numbers we're getting. Like, how many are we getting for free for him? Like, 3, 1, 5, 10 next week? Plus, how many keys are we getting for free? Is it only going to be like 1, 3, 10, a couple? We don't really know, like, what kind of numbers we're getting until it actually happens next week. Let's see. Remember what she did mentioned that using weapons and troops will give extra points? Wait, using weapons and troops will give extra points. I'm pretty sure that's just for the invasion troop, not anything else. Like, for example, you have to use the new goblin guy, but you don't get any extra points for using a weapon. There's no weapon associated next week, if I'm not mistaken. That's only applicable for, like, Tower of Doom and stuff. Like, if you have to use the Doom weapon in the Doom event and stuff like that. So for this one, it only applies to the new troop. So you only have to use the new goblin in the event. You don't have to use any specific weapon. Unless you're just referring to it generally speaking, but yeah. The weapon one would only be applicable for Tower of Doom, I'm pretty sure. Whereas Raids and Evasion would be based on the troop. And obviously Journey would also be based on the troop. It kind of already is. So there's almost no change with Journey events. But yeah, for Tower of Doom, it's based on the weapon. And for Raids and Evasion, it's based on the troop. For Journey, it's also based on the troop, but it's not really any different because you were already having to use the Journey troop anyways. So it's not like it changed at all. It mostly only affects Raids and Evasions. Well, I guess Tower of Doom too. But Tower of Doom for weapon and Raids and Evasion for troop. But yes, you do have to put it on your team to get extra points. I'm not sure how much extra points it is. It's like double or extra or something. But you'll get more you'll get more points for using the new epic troop coming out next week. Not the one from Glory keys, but the one, or not from Glory. Not the one from Glory, but the one specifically from the mode itself, the invasion mode. Using that on your team will give you extra points. And I believe it's based on Ascension. Similar to how it works for, you know, Bounty Hunter and stuff like that in Journey events. Where it gives you slightly more for Ascension. Yeah, double magic, double points. Okay, never mind. Ascension wouldn't matter then. Just simply having on your team is double magic, double points. Okay, that would make sense. And it kind of encourages you to use the new troop too, which is kind of nice. Because a lot of times in the past you wouldn't necessarily need to run it. But now you definitely always would. But anyways, guys, we're going to be ending it here for now. Tomorrow, I'll be streaming, same time as always, hour and a half prior to now tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we do every single night. We will be covering 100% the Underspire video tomorrow. We'll be going over how we did last week. We'll be going over this week. And just going over general strategy as far as how I currently understand it. It might still be missing a couple tidbits of info, but I'm pretty sure someone in the comment section will mention that. But, I don't know, we'll try to cover absolutely everything that I currently know related to it. This overall strategy, various tips and tricks, and, because Underspire is actually pretty solved at this point, as far as pathing and everything else. We could probably pretty consistently get it under 100 every single week. I foresee every week going forward pretty much being 100 unless we really mess up. So yeah, that's going to make it quite a bit cheaper on gems. This made a mode that could potentially take upwards of 2,000 gems, down to a mode that should consistently be under 1,000 almost every week. So this week it did take me 1,200 because it didn't distribute it as well. However, I believe going forward, we can pretty consistently almost always spend under 1,000 gems to finish Underspire, which for how much loot you get in return, honestly is not that bad. It turned from a mode that looked a little expensive to a mode that is actually really reasonable for some really good loot. Anyways, I'll catch all you guys later. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.